Everything began the moment I stepped into that old Nashville lobby on a cool, overcast night. In a city steeped in musical soul, Taylor Swift's exclusive listening party for her new project promised the unveiling of hidden truths. Have you ever imagined a megastar revealing secrets behind the glitz? Tonight, trust, betrayal, and inner turmoil were about to collide, and the raw truth was ready to see the light. At precisely 10:15 p.m., an unexpected revolution unfolded. Taylor entered the stage with a calm yet undeniable defiance, shedding her polished image. Dressed in a sleek tailored coat and striking boots, her steps echoed on the worn wooden floor, instantly changing the atmosphere of the room. Ever wonder what happens when the truth breaks free? In that moment, the sorrow and anger of years shone in her eyes as she strummed her guitar, each note heavy with meaning. Tonight, we're not just here to celebrate music, we're here to confront the silenced truths, she declared. Can you feel it? Listen closely. The three words of truth: courage, honesty, change. Recalling a secret conversation with someone she once trusted, Taylor's words resonated with each listener. Truth is painful but liberating. Truth forms the foundation of justice. Truth marks a turning point. Her message spread like wildfire through the room. Phones lit up as social media erupted. Did you catch that moment? The one where every word touched your heart and set your emotions ablaze. As the night wore on, the venue transformed from an intimate listening party into a forum for change. Every corner lit up with hope, every heart ignited with defiance. Taylor's words, like the timeless notes of a melody, echoed throughout the industry. Did you feel that? The moment when truth, courage, and change converged into one unforgettable instant. Voices rose in unison, chanting three core calls: justice, freedom, change. Now is the time to act and shape a new future. Are you ready to break free from the chains of the past? Remember, every revolution starts with one bold step, one powerful voice. Will you raise yours? Because when truth is unleashed with courage, the world is forever changed. It was a cool, overcast evening in Nashville, a city known for its musical soul and storied past. The setting was intimate, a dimly lit lounge tucked away in a historic building, where a small gathering of industry insiders, journalists, and die-hard fans had been invited to an exclusive listening party. The event was meant to celebrate Taylor Swift's new project, a compilation of unreleased demos and behind-the-scenes stories. Yet, no one anticipated that the night would soon unravel into something far more personal and incendiary. Backstage, tension was already in the air. Taylor had spent the better part of the afternoon meeting with close friends and advisors, discussing the final touches on the event. In hushed conversations, snippets of her frustrations about long-standing issues in the music business had surfaced, a balance of power that, in her eyes, had always favored the few over the many. Despite her meticulously crafted image of grace and empowerment, there were raw, unedited moments that few ever witnessed. Earlier that week, a confidential recording had leaked onto social media. In it, Taylor was heard in a heated discussion with her former manager, a man she had trusted for years, whose guidance had once been instrumental in her meteoric rise. The conversation, now dubbed the Disclosure Crisis, captured Taylor questioning the inequities and manipulations that seemed endemic in the music industry. The recording revealed more than just a clash of opinions. It exposed a vulnerable side of the pop icon, who was tired of the system that treated artists like commodities. Overnight, the leaked conversation set off a wildfire of reactions. Fans, critics, and industry insiders all took to social media, dissecting every word and demanding answers. That night, as the lounge filled with an eclectic mix of fashionable influencers, seasoned journalists, and fervent fans, whispers of the leaked conversation buzzed in every corner. The walls of the venue, adorned with vintage concert posters and elegant chandeliers, seemed to vibrate with anticipation and apprehension. In one secluded corner, a small group of fans huddled around their phones, eyes glued to the latest tweets and video clips that recounted every detail of Taylor's candid admissions. They debated in hushed tones, some calling her brave for speaking truth to power, while others wondered if the revelations would tarnish the image they had come to cherish. Taylor, for her part, entered the venue in a manner that was quintessentially her own, radiant yet understated. Clad in a chic, tailored coat and a pair of ankle boots that clicked confidently on the hardwood floor, she exuded an aura of quiet defiance. Her eyes, a blend of determination and melancholy, surveyed the room as if she already sensed the storm that was about to break. A few industry veterans nodded in silent acknowledgement, while younger artists exchanged uncertain glances. It was as though the air itself was charged with the weight of secrets and the promise of revelation. The event began with a gentle acoustic performance, an interlude meant to set a reflective mood. Taylor strummed her guitar softly, her voice tender and warm as she sang a new, unreleased track about resilience and rebirth. For those few minutes, the crowd was mesmerized by the raw emotion in her performance. But just as the song reached its poignant crescendo, Taylor paused abruptly. The hush that followed was palpable, as if the room held its breath. Clearing her throat, she spoke directly into the microphone. "I want to thank you all for being here tonight," she began, her tone measured yet heavy with unsaid words. "We are gathered not just to celebrate music, but to confront some difficult truths about the industry that has given us so much and yet taken so much away." Her eyes scanned the audience, landing on faces that reflected a mix of curiosity, concern, and hope. As the room settled into an expectant silence, Taylor's voice grew stronger, more resolute. "For years, we have been told that success is defined by charts and awards, by the glamour of the stage. But behind the glitter, there is a reality that few of us are willing to discuss: the exploitation, the manipulation, the power imbalances that force artists to fight for every inch of creative freedom." She paused, letting the weight of her words sink in. "Last week, something was leaked, a conversation with someone I once trusted. It made me realize that the very system we live in is designed to keep us in line, to silence the voices that challenge it." Gasps and murmurs rippled through the audience. Some people in the crowd leaned forward, their eyes wide with a mixture of shock and admiration. Others exchanged glances, trying to process the implications. Taylor continued, her tone intensifying. "I'm not here to cast blame for the sake of drama. I'm here because I believe in truth, because I believe that every artist deserves to be heard, without having to sacrifice their soul for commercial gain. It's time we question the status quo. It's time we demand a balance where creativity is valued over corporate interests, where authenticity is celebrated instead of suppressed." In that moment, the lounge transformed. The soft acoustic background faded into a roar of reactions, some cheering, others booing, but all undeniably captivated. Social media exploded with live updates. Tweets, Facebook posts, and Instagram stories poured in from fans and critics alike. Hashtags like #SwiftTruth, #DiscloseTheBalance, and #MusicForThePeople trended within minutes, echoing Taylor's message far beyond the confines of that intimate venue. Backstage, the impact of her disclosure was even more dramatic. The leaked recording, which had already sparked a national conversation, was now recontextualized by Taylor's on-stage admission. Former associates, some now estranged, watched the live feed with a mix of regret and resolve. Industry insiders scrambled to do damage control, issuing statements that attempted to downplay the revelations and reassure investors and partners that the established order was intact. But it was too late. Taylor Swift had set the wheels of change in motion. During the rest of the event, Taylor interwove her performance with moments of candid reflection. Between songs, she shared stories of the struggles she had faced in negotiating contracts, of the countless hours spent battling for rights that many took for granted. She spoke of the emotional toll of being objectified and manipulated by an industry that prized profit over artistry. When I signed my first record deal, she recalled, I thought I was stepping into a dream. Instead, I found myself trapped in a nightmare where my voice was just another product to be marketed. Her confession resonated deeply with many in the room, sparking tears and applause in equal measure. As the night wore on, the atmosphere in the lounge evolved into one of collective empowerment. What had begun as an intimate listening party transformed into a grassroots forum for change. Fans approached Taylor after the show, their faces lit with newfound resolve. "Thank you for speaking your truth," one young artist said, her voice trembling with emotion. "I feel like I'm not alone in this fight anymore." Others offered similar words of gratitude, promising to take up the mantle of advocacy in their own communities. Outside, the reverberations of Taylor's words continued to spread. News channels interrupted regular programming to cover the story, with pundits debating the ramifications for the music industry. Editorials appeared in major newspapers, heralding her as a trailblazer who dared to challenge a corrupt system, while critics accused her of exploiting personal grievances for publicity. Within days, the controversy became a full-blown cultural phenomenon, discussed on talk shows, in boardrooms, and in classrooms across the country. In the weeks that followed, industry reforms began to materialize. Several major record labels announced initiatives aimed at increasing transparency in contract negotiations and ensuring fairer revenue distribution for artists. Independent musicians and grassroots organizations found themselves emboldened by Taylor's courage, organizing rallies and online campaigns to demand better working conditions and creative freedom. The discourse that Taylor had ignited not only questioned the status quo, but also charted a course toward a more equitable future in music. Backstage, amidst the swirl of media interviews and internal meetings, Taylor remained quietly resolute. In a rare, candid interview with a prominent cultural magazine, she explained, "I've always believed that music is more than just sound. It's a reflection of our struggles, our hopes, and our dreams. I couldn't stand by while the industry continued to silence voices and perpetuate imbalances." What I said that night came from a place of deep frustration, but also from an unwavering belief in the power of truth to set us free. Her words were measured, honest, and laden with the weight of experience, leaving an indelible impression on all who heard them. As the dust settled, the legacy of that night began to crystallize into something enduring. The event was later dubbed the Disclosure Crisis, a turning point in the history of the music industry. Academic circles held symposiums analyzing the impact of celebrity activism on corporate practices, and social media remained ablaze with discussions about the right to speak out against systemic injustice. Taylor's recorded statements were archived as part of a broader movement toward artistic integrity and social responsibility, inspiring a generation to question, to challenge, and to demand change. In boardrooms and studios across the nation, executives and artists alike were forced to confront uncomfortable truths. Some resisted, clinging to the old ways of doing business. Others embraced the call for reform, recognizing that the future of music depended on breaking free from the constraints of an exploitative past. Over time, incremental changes began to reshape the industry. Contract negotiations became more artist-friendly, and the power dynamics between labels and creators shifted ever so slightly toward a more balanced relationship. Yet, despite these changes, the memory of that transformative night lived on. For Taylor Swift, it was a reminder that true artistry required vulnerability and the courage to stand up for one's beliefs, even in the face of overwhelming opposition. For her fans, it was a beacon of hope, a sign that their voices mattered and that change was possible, even in an industry as vast and entrenched as music. And for the world at large, it was a vivid demonstration that when a single person dares to speak out, the ripple effects can alter the course of history. In the quiet aftermath, as Taylor prepared for her next tour and the media frenzy began to fade into the background, one thing remained abundantly clear: the disclosure crisis had irrevocably changed the conversation around music, power, and artistic freedom. It was a moment when the glitter of fame was stripped away to reveal the raw, unvarnished truth, a truth that resonated with millions and ignited a movement for greater transparency and fairness. And so, as the seasons changed and the industry continued its relentless march forward, the echoes of that fateful evening persisted. In late-night conversations, in classroom discussions, and in the heartfelt testimonials of emerging artists, Taylor Swift's courage and honesty were celebrated as the catalyst for a new era in music, a time when every note, every lyric, and every unscripted confession carried the potential to reshape the world. Through the prism of art and activism, the disclosure crisis became not just a scandal, but a symbol of transformation, a powerful reminder that sometimes the most revolutionary changes begin with a single, courageous act of truth. And in that act, Taylor Swift, with her unyielding spirit and unwavering commitment to justice, left an indelible mark on the heart of an industry and on the souls of all who believed that music could change the world.